Hello, Bleep heads. Sean here. And this is another special episode of What the Bleep Are You Watching? Which is a podcast where we watch a film and tell you why the bleep we watched it. Normally, these air over at the Patreon, patreon.com/whatthebleep. But in honor of the Super Mario Bros. Movie hitting theaters this week, we decided that once we talked about the 1993 Super Mario Bros. Movie, that we would make it available for everybody. So, if you enjoy this and want to hear more of our shows that aren't just included to What the Bleep Are You Playing, well, you can go over to our Patreon, patreon.com/whatthebleep. That's patreon.com/whatthebleep, and check it out and subscribe and support us. So without further ado, enjoy. Hello, and welcome to What the Bleep Are You Watching? A podcast where we watch a film and tell you why the bleep we watched it. I'm Sean Mario. This is Thomas Mario. And Mason Mario. That's 3 Marios. And we watched... Super Mario Bros. So how you guys doing?
Okay, so I'm just gonna get this right out of the gate. I know this movie has a big negative reception.
Stigma.
Rightfully so. This movie is pretty fucking terrible objectively.
Mm-hmm.
I loved the shit out of this.
It's a fun bad. It is such a fun bad.
So we've watched a couple variations of bads at times. So, you know, we watched...
like a...
cult classic bad, The Room. We watched just nothing redeemable about it bad, Pinocchio.
We watched What the Fuck Was That Bad? Cats.
Yeah. This is, I think, the first true it's so bad it's good that we've watched. Like,
Yeah, like
Honestly, yeah.
Mason has their soft spot for The Room, and that is fine. I think me and Sean have gone on record saying we don't love it as much as they do.
That's
By
true.
any metric at all.
But this was the first movie that all three of us were like, this is bad.
We were
but
all
we're having a
laughing at
ball.
least one point.
I was going to say,
or
we were
another.
having a ball.
Some of the laughing was for unintentional humor, but legitimately, some of the in this movie is intentional humor that works, and so like that helps. That it's so bad it's good.
Sean said it multiple times while watching this movie, so I'll say it now. Steal his thunder. The Mario Brothers movie gets the Mario Brothers right. It's everything else.
Everything else around it
single
that
thing
just...
else.
And even the things that the thing that it gets right, the Mario Brothers doesn't get it. They don't get 100% right either.
Because they're never wearing their colors.
They don't get it necessarily
Never
right.
until the end are they wearing their colors.
It's kind of something we talked in the previous episode about getting the feel right, even if you get some of the looks and different things wrong. And so for the Mario Bros, they don't look necessarily like the Mario Bros. They don't act necessarily like the Mario Bros we know of. But the feel actually works as just two brothers running around. You buy it. You're like, yeah, that
like
works.
Despite the very clear age gap between the two.
Yeah.
Even though my personal headcanon is that they're the same age, Mario just aged way worse.
Mario had to put up with actually being a plumber, whereas
Luigi is just an apprentice.
And now he's just an apprentice, so like Mario's seen all the shit of Brooklyn and New York, and it's like, it aged me. And
It's what New York does to a mofo.
How old are you, Luigi? I'm 25. Oh, well, Mario, you're like 36? No, I'm also 25. What?
So yeah, this is the 1993 Super Mario Bros. Not to be confused with the soon-to-be released, probably when this comes out, already released, Super Mario Bros. Movie that is coming here. We're coming up on the 30th anniversary of this movie.
Shameless connections.
Look, I might have picked this movie to release at the same time.
Shameless promotion.
Maybe there's some ulterior motives in this, but so this movie in '93 is this the real first like big budget video game movie?
Yeah, I'm pretty.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure it is. I'm pretty sure it
Because,
is.
yeah, it is.
Because I know things like Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter would come after it.
Yeah, in fact, sequentially, it was Mario Brothers movie in 1993, Street Fighter in 1994, Mortal Kombat 1995.
And then Annihilation in 97 or
Yeah.
98?
97.
97, okay. So, like, this was the first, like, attempt to take this thing these kids are playing and trying to make them into a franchise that spanned beyond the games that they were played in.
And credit where it's due, Mario is probably the best place to start.
Yeah.
It's interesting that this the first bad video game movie and the first video game movie ever. That it's interesting that UA Bowl had nothing to do with it. Because that's almost an expectation. I would
So
think.
what you're saying is Mario Brothers walked so Uwe Boll could run.
Yes, that is exactly what I'm saying.
So this movie comes out in '93 after a tumultuous pre-production, filming, post-production. They tried to pawn it off onto bigger name directors. They tried to pawn it off on different actors. And then they settled on a husband and wife duo who had really never directed before and never directed again after.
Yeah, because before the husband and wife duo came on, the script they had penned was essentially something like Princess Bride, where it was a fantasy adventure, but it was a lot more self-aware than something like, say, Lord of the Rings or Warcraft, for shameless plug to one of our other episodes. Another video game movie, huh? That's 3 video game movies so far. And
more to come.
oh yeah, we're gonna do so fucking many. But
No, really, this spin-off of a video game podcast that talks about movies is going to talk about video game movies.
I know.
what a shock!
Whoa!
What a shock! I know. But before the husband and wife duo came on, I forget their names, and I really don't care.
Rocky Morton and Annabelle Jankel.
Yeah.
Right, sure. Okay.
Those are names.
Yep, those are names. Like I said, it was originally going to be more of a fantasy. As soon as they came on, because they had also developed a computer program, Max, whatever the hell his name was.
Max Headroom.
Max Headroom, yes.
Max Headroom.
That's it. He was a big thing in the 90s, so they wanted to do kind of a futuristic sci-fi thing instead of fantasy, because fantasy's for nerds, apparently. So they were like, yeah, let's take everything you've done and just completely alter it.
Yeah.
They did this without telling the actors. So the actors showed up on set like, what the fuck is this?
And they want the inspirations that they were trying to take from to make this movie was Ghostbusters and Wizard of Oz.
Okay.
Why?
So Ghostbusters for kind of the look and the aesthetic, Wizard of Oz for the stepping out of the real world into fantasy world. Some of that definitely disappeared from to the final bit,
I was
but
gonna say, if you had not told me about that, I would.
but that is something they said a lot about it. Obviously, they wanted different actors initially. They approached Danny DeVito for Mario initially. Dustin Hoffman had expressed interest before Bob Hoskins got the role of Mario. And Arnold Schwarzenegger and Michael Keaton were approached with King Koopa. Never were actually offered.
Well, I think Michael Keaton's probably the closest they could have gotten to.
My worry is with
Dennis
this film,
Hopper.
Arnold, we might have ended up just with another Mr. Freeze. Which,
Well, it would have been more entertaining than what Dennis Hopper ended up doing.
which I said from the...
How funny would it be if Bob Hoskins was like, come and take it, and he was like, burn, plumber, and he just breathes fire or whatever.
Yeah. I said before we started watching it that I personally really like all the casting in this. That doesn't mean they did the right thing with it. I think Dennis Hopper's a really good actor and could do a really good Bowser or King Koopa in this. What they have him doing in this is not a good performance.
That being said, Bob Hoskins does such a good Brooklyn accent. I didn't know for the longest time that he was British. I didn't like that complete like woof. Like,
Bob
whoosh,
Hoskins and John
right over my
Leguizamo
head.
are perfect for the Mario Bros.
Yeah, again, the minute, for me, the minute Bob Hoskins started talking, and I was like, oh yeah, that is what I imagine Mario sounding like. He's very gruff. He's got that Brooklyn accent. Like, there are two very different versions of Mario talking. There's Charles Martinet's version where it's like, it's me, Mario.
Wouldn't come for a couple more years after this.
Yeah, because that was Mario.
Because it was for the
It was the teacher
computer programs.
Yeah.
The teachers typing in the Mario games, the
I think
computer
that would
ones.
have been
It was 94 or 95 because his first console one would be a 64 game.
Yeah, it would
when
be
he had
Mario
the voice.
64. The first Mario.
So 94 or 95, I think,
Yeah.
is when he did the first Mario voice.
Actually, not to actually here for a sec, but actually, Teach's Typing was in 91.
Okay, so he had been
but
cast
did
the
he,
voice.
But did he talk in Teach's Typing?
He did.
He did?
Yeah.
He did?
Okay.
I think so.
I thought he only talked in Teach's Typing too. But either way, I personally kind of prefer Mario, of all things, like the Super Mario Brothers Super Show in this movie, where he has kind of the gruff Brooklyn accent. I don't know. That's just, I
Okay.
prefer.
Yes, he started voicing in 91, so yes,
Okay,
you are
so
correct.
yes.
So the Super Show would be the first time we got a voice, because that's late
which
80s.
was Captain Lou Albano.
Martinet would be the
Oh,
second,
God,
and
yeah.
Bob Hoskins would be the third Mario voice
Yeah.
of Major Cell. Yeah.
Which, again, considering this movie was probably in production for a long
Yeah, they started filming in 92.
Yeah, so it makes sense that they would go with the Brooklyn voice.
And because the Mario Teaches Typing wasn't mainline, so, and again, Charles Martinet's voice didn't become like the main Mario voice until we got to
64.
the 64, really.
Yeah.
Because Mario only spoke in the off-brand games, computer
Yeah,
games.
which
I had the game where you play board games with Mario, and you have Mario saying, "Backgammon,
What?
chess, checkers." Yeah,
game is
goldfish.
Mario.
It was a
board
Mario
games.
plays. It's a computer game. Same people that did typing, and you just played.
Look, Mario just had his face on everything.
Yeah.
So
Which it makes sense why they wanted to make a movie, because Mario was bigger than any video game character had been.
Mario is big. Mario is. I think this is actually the first time we've talked about a pure Mario thing in like all the podcasts. So Mario is without a doubt the video game character.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, you think video games, the first thing that comes to your mind is Mario.
Is Mario.
Yes.
So it makes sense that they would try to make a movie even back then, because this was right after Super Mario World.
Yeah.
The-
So we would have
really
had
massive
the
debut.
3 main NES line games, a bunch of Game Boy games,
Yeah, which,
and obviously Teaches Typing.
yeah, and
Yeah,
especially
the Mario movie that really made it, the Mario game that really made him popular, Teach's Typing.
which again 3 especially just blew Mario the fuck up.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Like the
Mario
first-
Bros. 3
I mean-
is my personal favorite Mario game, so there's Sean's take here. Mario Bros. 3 is his personal favorite.
I mean, they did make a whole movie just to advertise for it, so it's got to be huge.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, we should watch The Wizard.
God damn it. Well, we're on Mario takes now. My favorite's Galaxy.
Yeah, I remember you
Or,
saying that.
well, Galaxy 2, I'll say. I think that just has.
All right, Mason, what's your favorite Mario game at this?
Oh God! Oh man!
The youngest of the group, it'd be interesting to see, because me, old man, is like, yeah, I played Super Mario Bros. 3 on the NES and I loved it.
And the second oldest of the podcast is like, I'll go with one of the more modern.
Purely for nostalgic reasons, because it was pretty much the first ever Mario game I ever played. New Super Mario Bros. Wii.
Oh, fair.
I don't think it's the best Mario game per se.
yeah.
But just purely for.
But that was the first one that
Oh.
I ever played.
Oh, no. Never mind. I lied. My favorite Mario game is Mario Luigi Bowser's Inside Story.
Great game.
That's fair. That's fair. That one is
But
great.
platformer-wise, which is, of course, what you think of when you think Mario, it's Galaxy 2.
Yeah. And that Mario kind of is an impact on culture. And it is wild that it's going to take him 30 years to get to ever making another movie.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, considering the
Considering,
circumstances
but
around
also
the first
think
one.
of a lot of other bad movie first franchises that have already... Look, we've already gotten 2 Hitman movies.
We've gotten two hit.
yeah.
and from completely different people. Like
We've gotten 2 Hitman movies, both of which are trash.
Yeah.
We've gotten 3 Tomb Raider movies.
and two different franchises from it. 2 different franchises on Mortal Kombat that have been made into movies. 2 different Street
Three,
Fighters.
actually, counting the animated ones.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, if we're counting anime,
A lot more.
Shit. Like,
Yeah.
if we're
Resident
counting
Evil
anime,
has now had a 7-movie franchise, a 1 movie, and then a TV show.
and
yeah.
and 3 animated movies. Again,
So,
we're
like,
counting those.
it's just wild that Mario Bros. And then Nintendo was held very close to the chest post this. I mean, look, they had TV shows back in the day.
because like
They were okay licensing their stuff out. There obviously was the Legend of Zelda TV show, the Super Mario Bros.
The CDI games.
That's what
where
and then the CDI games are back to back, and that's what broke Nintendo wanting to license until the mid 2000s or early 2000s when they licensed Zelda out to Namco for Oracle of Ages, Oracle of Seasons, and Soul Calibur 2.
Oh, yeah.
which credit where it's due, Nintendo seems to. I say that a lot on this damn show.
That's
I
that's your take a drink line. Every time you say that,
Oh,
whoever
you're
listens,
gonna be
take a
fucking
drink.
Dead. I like that Nintendo does seem to be branching out more, especially with Mario and their bigger franchises. Zelda has obviously got Hyrule Warriors, and Mario has the Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle games, or just Mario Rabbids, I suppose, because the second one's called Spark Globe. Which, fun fact, those games actually smack.
They are
That's
great.
what I've heard.
Really good.
That's what I've heard.
Which you wouldn't expect from a Mario Rabbids crossover.
No.
But they actually kind of slap. But yeah, it makes sense that they were burned so bad because
Yeah.
this movie bombed
Very bad.
hard.
Because it had, especially for the time, a humongous budget. I want to say it was like 40 million.
Yeah, which again, comparatively,
That's
Terminator 2 had a budget
humongous.
of like 12.
Like it's a
million, something like that.
humongous budget. $42 million budget, between 42
And
and
I'm pretty
48 million, and worldwide it only made 38.9.
I'm pretty sure it went over budget, didn't it?
Yes.
Yes, it did.
And that's one of the problems is like some of the actors who were only supposed to be on set for a few weeks. Dennis Hopper was on set for 17 weeks.
Yeah. With Dennis Hopper, it got to the point where, again, going back to the development, he would not even learn his lines because the directors, again, you can pinpoint a lot of this movie's problems back to the directors.
Yes.
There's a reason they don't work in Hollywood ever. They don't
Yep.
work in Hollywood
Because not a single one of the actors would ever work with them again.
Yeah, and they'd never work on another movie again.
That's one of those that's like, nope, you made this hell.
But Dennis Hopper, they changed the line so much, Dennis Hopper would just not learn them. Because he was basically like, fuck it, they're going to change it later. What's the point?
Bob
I don't blame
Hoskins and John Leguizamo consistently got drunk on the set because they were
Which
so
I think
tired.
which I think kind of leads.
It
to
actually,
their
again, it kind of helps them.
chemistry.
They have really good
they
chemistry.
were drinking buddies, so it helped them get like really good chemistry.
Bob Hoskins nearly died on the set, and
Twice. didn't
multiple
he?
times. But the one positive that came from this, not necessarily for the movie, was this movie weirdly pushed visual effects forward a tremendous amount.
Yeah,
Like
you
they
said-
developed new software that started to move from practical effects to digital effects that would really be capitalized on by things like Jurassic Park in the future. And
So-
like, while the effects in this movie aren't good, it is kind of like that proto stage. Like this is the missing link of CGI.
So, ladies and gentlemen, whenever you're sitting down and you're having your MCU marathon and you get to Endgame and the big Avengers Assemble scene, none of that would be possible without the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Yep.
This movie's better than the MCU. No, I'm kidding.
Obviously-
I'm very obviously kidding. Don't fucking crucify me.
This movie obviously came out and was hated.
Hated by critics and audiences.
Oh, across-
'Cause fun fact, this is one of the few movies I can think of that has the exact same score on Rotten Tomatoes for critics and audiences. Both are out of 29%.
Disney was actually trying to push this movie for a visual effects Oscar. It did not get nominated. Nightmare Before Christmas is what got nominated from Disney that year. But
I wonder which
they
one.
actually one of the 4. They were pushing 4 movies to get a visual effects. Because again, we'll get to this when we talk about Held Up. At the time, these effects were incredible.
Yeah, especially
But-
because when you think about it, this is one of the first uses of CGI.
Very early CGI work that we would see in things like Terminator 2 and Jurassic Park that
Yeah,
would
that-
really start to take advantage of it.
The problem is they rely on it a bit too heavily and not for stuff that it should really be
Yeah.
used for.
Which it comes from really bad directors.
Again, you can pinpoint all these movies' problems back to one source, which is very rare for any movie. So,
The other thing is that the soundtrack released, and it actually charted for a little while.
well,
It was off the strength of Everybody Walked the Dinosaur, wasn't it?
Yeah, they're
Everybody was walking the dinosaur after this movie came out.
well, the soundtrack for this movie actually kind of smashed.
and as I said, that's mostly
Yeah,
that's mostly the for movies they track, and a lot of the songs on the thing weren't actually in the movie because that's what you would do. You would have a Mario Bros that had one or you'd have a soundtrack that had one or two songs on it, and then 10 other artists singing songs that would go with it. So
Right.
but yeah, that
Yeah, the soundtrack was done by Alan Silvestri.
Silvestri, yeah, and the soundtrack's really good.
The man who would go on to do both Infinity War and Endgame.
So once again,
So,
Endgame,
shit,
you better be thanking your Mario
I
Bros.
made a joke earlier, but shit, would Endgame exist without Mario?
But yeah,
Well, at least that part of it.
At least
probably.
that part would.
initially, when we planned this podcast set out, I was expecting to talk a lot about the behind the scenes, but we watched the movie, and I think we really more want to talk about the movie than the behind the scenes. Just know that the behind the scenes is absolute chaos, and there probably eventually will need to be a movie made about it.
Absolutely.
There's a really excellent series on YouTube called What Happened, where he goes into disastrous developments of video games and movies. There's an episode on the Super Mario Brothers movie. That episode is fantastic.
Yeah, it is an absolute disaster in every way.
So one more thing I wanted to bring up about the music. You know what else Alan Silvestri did? Thomas.
Shit.
A lot of
the name-
stuff.
Then I was gonna say he's done so much. The
He
name
did 310
sounds
to
so
Yuma, I'm
familiar.
pretty sure.
He did Lilo and Stitch.
Nice.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
again,
Okay. Yeah. This
means
movie's
probably
immediately
the
better
sound,
now.
probably most likely probably not any of the music bit, like more
No.
of the
But,
soundtrack. But yeah.
I mean, like, still, it's.
Oh yeah,
fucking
Lilo and Stitch is
soundtrack.
a great soundtrack. So yeah,
that movie.
let's jump into the plot here of Super Mario Bros. 1993.
Try to keep in mind that this is supposed to be a Mario Brothers movie, because you might forget.
So we open up on the Mario Bros. Theme, and immediately you're like, ah, cool, Mario Bros.
And it's like they get this right, and then
And then immediately we're talking about dinosaurs.
Then a CDI game happens.
Yeah, on some of the worst computer looking. It looks like an old early computer game graphics.
Yeah.
I think we're also overlooking something important about this opening scene: the narrator.
Yeah.
Yes, we have a
Don.
brief little narrator in there, voiced by Dan Castellaneta, aka Homer Simpson.
Homer frickin' Simpson.
Which means it would have been very funny if it was in the Homer Simpson voice. And just halfway, because he's a lazy shit, halfway through he just quits. And just lets it play out.
The initial Homer Simpson voice.
paycheck now?
So we learn that what we're looking at is Brooklyn 65 million years ago, before
Which,
the
that
meteor
did get
hits.
a chuckle out of
and
me.
dinosaurs didn't fully die out. The meteor caused a rift in dimensions, and dinosaurs still live.
So I like to imagine that this movie and 65 take place in the same universe. and the reason most of the dinosaurs died is not because of the meteor, it's because of Adam Driver.
A woman leaves a bag on a doorstep, and a nun opens the door and picks the bag up. And then the woman runs away into the tunnels of Brooklyn, I guess. And we see that the nun has a dinosaur egg, while the woman is running all Batman style. This is probably the most ripped off from another movie style in the entire thing. Is this run looks like the Batman runs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's shot and lit very much like Batman.
Legit. I think Mason pointed it out. Like, Mason just started doing the bam, ba-da-da-bam, bam.
Koopa attacks the lady and she dies.
Which I just realized. They say later on that Salieri, or whatever the hell his name is, him tampering with the the system, the underground systems, is what opened the portal to
Yeah.
New Dino. Well, then how did Koopa get through?
I don't really know. Maybe they were doing something early. I honestly don't know, and I don't think it's explained. This movie doesn't like explaining things sometimes.
Well, probably because they were probably going to, and then all the actors were like, "No, screw this."
Well, they also
Or they rewrote it 16
I was gonna
times.
say,
Or yeah.
Or the
Again,
director one day came in and was like, you know what? This is what's going to happen today.
yeah, you know what? Dennis Hopper, stand in the shadows over there. This is at the end of the movie. No, at the beginning. Okay.
A baby hatches from the egg that was left on the doorstep.
Which Mason Mason had my favorite reaction of probably the whole time watching, where I was like, "What is this?" And Sean's like, "Don't worry about it. It's okay." Is it?
Is it okay? And there's a crystal. Cut to the future.
Yeah, we're mentioning that there's a crystal as a side note because the movie mentions
It's
it
just
as
like,
a
look
side
at this.
note.
There's a thing. Mario is
Now
at his
look at
desk
this.
taking a phone call, and immediately we get Bob Hoskins playing Mario just awesomely.
Ghostbusters, what do you want?
The minute again, I said it before. The minute Bob Hoskins starts talking, I'm like, yeah, I am. Okay
Luigi
with it as Mario.
is laying on the couch like a lazy bum, and Mario is like, nah, we gotta go get work. We're gonna go fix a dishwasher.
and drops boots on his crotch, which
Which is really funny.
Was pretty funny.
again, this movie is actually genuinely funny when it comes to the Mario.
I like to think that the original script had him dropping the boots on his chest, but Bob Hoskins was just like, I'm gonna drop it on his dick.
Because he was drunk.
We get
Good
the
name.
line that Luigi says a lot in this movie. You just gotta believe.
Which is kind of weird that like this movie sees him as like, oh, I'm gonna believe in everything, and then future games would have him being a sniveling coward.
I was gonna say it's
It's like
weird.
the complete opposite.
I was gonna say it's weird that Luigi kind of ended up becoming the scaredy cat, because in this game he's kind of the hothead.
Yeah.
Or in this movie,
Mario's
he's
more of
hothead.
Mario's more of the scaredy cat at times. Scared of heights later on. Scared.
Yeah, and even then, that's less scaredy cat and more like he's just the wise. Old
He's
mentor
kind of from Lethal Weapon. He's kind of I'm too
he's
old for
Danny
this shit.
Glover
I'm
shit.
too old for this shit.
a little bit, yeah.
So we then get a weird news report that's like talking about this dig that's happening on in this place, blah 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 blah, and they're searching for dino bones, but blah 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 blah, and they're talking about that, and then Scapelli shows up and threatens the
Scapelli,
bone
that's
digging
his
lady, who will learn is Daisy.
Yeah, stereotypical Italian name.
Yep, Scapelli, who, previously we did see Mario and Luigi pull up at the location where they were going to fix it. Scapelli beat them there because Scapelli is a rival plumber / mob boss. It's very odd.
He's a plumber, a contract. They say he's a contractor.
Yeah.
I think it'd be really funny if when you're editing this podcast, when you go back, every time you say, anytime any of us say Scapelli, you just interject with me going, stereotypical Italian name.
That seems like a lot of work, so no.
Fair enough.
We then get our
spaghetti.
first look at the Koopa Bros, Iggy and Spike.
Who, possibly, in popular opinion, they're the worst parts of this movie.
They grow on you as the movie goes on, but especially the early parts, they're
in the
really
beginning,
bad.
I should say. Beginning, Spike and Iggy are the worst parts of this
They
movie.
just don't do it
They're-
much.
They're
They're
dumb.
not-
They're just like they're
They're
there
dumb.
for bad comic relief that's not funny. And they don't they're kind of moving the plot along, but they're just kind of there. It's almost as if they were like, "Hey, we watched Home Alone recently. What if we tried to kind of do those characters but made it dumber?"
Yeah. Which I didn't think was possible.
It's How do you get dumber from being outwitted by a 10-year-old? Well, watch this movie and you'll find.
Mario, their van breaks down a little bit, so they pull to the side. Luigi picks up, gonna make a phone call while Mario steps away, and then Daisy walks up as she needs to use the phone. Luigi stops his call and lets Daisy use the phone because Luigi is smitten.
Which is, it's not Princess Peach. It's actually Princess Daisy in this movie.
Which I like.
I was going to say, I don't mind it, and it is kind of weird. I kind of realized this. This movie, unless you count the time Daisy was Luigi's caddy in the NES golf stuff, this movie is the first time Luigi and Daisy hook up.
Sean, would you care to explain?
That I like that it's Daisy.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's either way. It wouldn't have been a problem. I just like the way they portray Mario in this movie. He really didn't need to be the one saving.
That's
For this movie, it works. Unless you wanted Peach saving, it was a way to do something a little different. And I think Daisy works in this. Again, it's not necessarily, obviously not accurate, but I don't think them choosing Daisy was a problem in this film.
I don't think it was a problem either. It was a choice. It
Yeah.
was a choice.
Just kind of a why.
Yeah, yeah.
Not a bad why or just a
Yeah.
question mark why.
It's
just
for what the movie they told and what they made here, Daisy works. Not to say that it's the right choice. It's just that for what they did, I don't mind it.
Yeah. I mean, as a kid, I was so baffled by this movie because I'm like, where's Princess Peach? Where is she? And she's just not in the movie.
Yeah, not even a reference to Pauline.
No.
So, it's very odd.
Even though Mario does have a girlfriend, which we see later.
We're about to see her in a few seconds, actually.
Yeah, I was
A few
going to
minutes.
say, we see...
Luigi is about to throw on his flirting skills and tells Daisy, well, we got a van. Would you like a ride?
Which isn't creepy at
Not at all. But Mario's also giving him hints the entire time, which is... Mario Love Guru is the best part in a lot of ways.
I wish Mario could be my wingman.
It kind of works, and they drop her off at the dig site, and Luigi asks her out to dinner. It's a double date. Luigi and Daisy, and Mario and Daniela.
Which, I'm not saying you had to name her Peach or Pauline or something, but I don't know.
It's just a strange name again. It's
again,
very weird.
This movie has a lot of times where it's you could have very easily just changed that a little bit to be more Mario, but
Well,
again,
at first, when the way everything talking, I was like, did Mario pick up a hooker? Is that what happened here? To get a double date, did Mario pick up a hooker?
That actually would have been fucking funny.
That was my first thought.
As they're leaving, Mario just really sneakily hands her a 20 or
Yeah.
whatever.
Plot twist, this isn't actually a Mario movie. This is Pretty Woman starring Bob Hoskins.
So, after the dinner, they leave. It's a weirdly awkward dinner because a lot of this early stuff is awkward, but also kind of charming. Awkward, not necessarily. This early Mario, Luigi, Daisy stuff isn't it's very awkward, but I kind of like the tone that they're setting here with these characters. It's not Mario by any stretch of the imagination, but it's nothing that I think is bad. The bad stuff is really about to come here in a few minutes.
Yeah.
This is where the movie gets bad, but also more fun.
Because as I said, Mario and Luigi stuff is good. Everything
else is what the fuck?
So, as they're leaving the dinner date, Mario and Daniela go off, and the Koopa Bros, being as dumb as they are, think, the woman switched places, so they chased after Mario and Daniela first. Luigi and Daisy go to the dig site, where they see that it's been sabotaged.
I know you were probably just swallowing there or clearing your throat or something, but I like to imagine that you remembered Mario's girlfriend's name, but not the main woman of the movie.
Who was that woman there?
Luigi and, what's her face?
Luigi and, that chick from Sarasa Land.
Daniela was kidnapped. Does they're chasing Mario on that? Did Mario realize that Daniela was kidnapped there?
Maybe.
Didn't think he did because he's back at home.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think he.
I don't think he realized it. Or if he did, he did not care.
Well, because he and no, I don't think he realized it because he and Danielle were he's like, I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna take a fucking nap or whatever because I'm old as shit. And Danielle was like, okay, I'll go home. And as she's leaving, she gets kidnapped.
Yeah. So Luigi and Daisy arrive at the apartment and tell Mario, we need your help with plumbing. And Mario's just like, plumbing on it.
He is deadly serious with plumbing. Bob Hoskins should have been in the trailer for Commando with how seriously he takes plumbing.
Mario really takes plumbing seriously, and while that's not necessarily Mario's character in the video games, I really like plumbing Mario. I really like that they leaned into the plumber.
That was something that I brought up like during this plumbing scene. I was like, with all the things that they got incorrect about the Mario franchise, this is the one part where they overcorrected. Because yeah, Mario's a plumber. I don't think he does a damn bit of plumbing in any of the games.
Sure he does.
Yeah.
He goes into a lot of pipes.
Yeah.
I mean, well,
But
I could go into a pipe. Does that make me a plumber?
well, you'd also probably be dead. Pipes are small, dude.
So as they fix all the issues and all these things, Daisy gets swept away and lost and yelling, which actually leads to another good that Mario understands things. Is Luigi's about to jump in down, and Mario's like, no, that's the echo.
And it's like,
This
how do
way.
you know? I've been listening to pipes my whole life, kid.
Yeah, it's
Because Mario is like Yoda, but with plumbing.
they get to this weird rock sand wall, and Daisy's like slightly coming through it, and she gets pulled away, but they get the crystal meteorite rock thing. And then they decide, well, let's jump on through and let's go see what's going on. And they jump into the rock, and we arrive in Dino Hatton.
Which is just a fantastic name.
Yeah, they're really obsessed with dinosaurs in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, you could say, well, it's 1993. It's right after Jurassic Park, but it's not.
It's
The movie
not.
was
It's
actually
right
came
around
out-
Jurassic Park. It would have been filming, I think, a little before or right with Jurassic Park. And it's such a weird, like...
I mean...
Again, of all the things to take from Mario, the fact that Yoshi is a dinosaur, and they're like, what if we extrapolate all these dinosaurs?
Yeah.
And the Koopas are reptilian.
It's dinosaurs and fungus. Mm-hmm. And because Mario eats mushrooms.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, and there is a mushroom kingdom, which I don't think they ever mentioned by name.
So they fall into it. We get our first then look at a Goomba as he's King Koopa, who hates fungus and is kind of a germaphobe and might be coded gay. There's so many different things they're doing with this, and I think it has to do with the directors and writers, and that Dennis Hopper was just like, I don't care anymore. Like,
Dennis Hopper, like
Was it you that said like Dennis Hopper just doesn't give a fuck?
it was specifically like near the end of the movie where I'm just like, wow, he does not fucking
Yeah.
care.
And so, like,
you can tell. Like,
this mentioning it during the movie, this really could have been Raja Julia in Street Fighter giving just an all-time great performance in a bad movie. That's not what this is.
That's not what this is at all.
no.
So the Koopa Bros are back to King Koopa, and they say, like, look, we got the girl for you. And he's like, well, all right, where's the rock? They're like, what rock? And it's like, I specifically told you to bring me the rock that she has around her neck. So we see the Koopa Bros are dumb. And they're like, the plumbers must have it.
And one of 3 lines in the movie Dennis Hopper does deliver like pretty fantastically. He's just like, plumbers.
Yeah.
He uses plumbers the same way that Chris Pratt uses Koopas.
To which part the Mario Bros decide to be the naive motherfuckers here, and an old lady holds them up. They're like, are you new here? Yeah, I've never been here. Do you have any weapons? No, we don't have any weapons. Then this is a stick-up.
Did any of you watch the 87 Ninja Turtles show?
I've seen some of it, yeah.
Parts of it, yeah.
There's a bit in like the very first episode, I want to say, where an old lady like sees the Ninja Turtles, but instead of like running away, she reaches into her shopping cart and pulls out a fucking machine gun, and that's all it reminded me
But-
of.
It's the old lady from Goldfinger.
The old lady steals the crystal meteorite rock thing, and as she tries to escape, is immediately thrown into traffic by Big Bertha.
Yeah, Big Bertha just fucking whips
Look,
Mario's ass.
I'm not saying Big Bertha steals the show, but every scene with Big Bertha rocks.
Yeah.
Also, Mason's always the horny one. Now it's my turn. Big Bertha's fucking hot. So I ain't.
Fair enough.
So she takes the meteorite and leaves. The Mario Bros continue wandering around, and it's where we're introduced to Toad. Is it a small mushroom? No, it's just
a guy.
It's
It's just a
hippie
guy
dude.
with a weird shaved bit on his head and
A guitar.
And a guitar.
For some reason.
Because Toad loves music. Didn't you know that?
You know, of all the Mario characters, Toad is the one to most likely be the bard.
but he's playing. The thing
I
is,
want Mario D&D now.
he's playing anti-King Koopa music, and so he is arrested.
Because
His music's just basically like, King Koopa's a fascist, King Koopa's a fascist, fascist. The police are like, hold on, what do you mean?
Toad's like, buy my new single, King Koopa's a Fascist, on SoundCloud now.
Toad absolutely would have a SoundCloud.
sorry, Mario, you're a princess out in a castle. By the way, have you heard my SoundCloud? Oh, god damn it.
So then Mario and Luigi step in to try to stop, and they're like, plumbers, you're under arrest.
Yeah. Okay.
And then Luigi gives the best line possibly in the movie. No, he's a plumber. I'm just apprenticing.
Yeah, he just tries to ball Mario out. I thought that was actually pretty fucking funny.
They get to the police department where we learn the police cars don't have brakes.
For some reason.
Yeah, I thought it was all the cars. But no, a car later on in the movie
Uses brakes.
So I'm like, what the fuck?
And
Again, possibly due to the 87,000 rewrites.
when they brought in Daisy, I forgot to mention that the King Koopa mentioned, or the Koopa brothers mentioned that she was being defungused. Well, we get to see that defungusing as they defungus Mario and Luigi, and it's as awkward as it sounds.
Yeah,
It's very odd.
The minute they pulled Mario and Luigi's pants and sprayed down their crotch area, I'm like, oh.
This is also the scene where we get, I think, arguably the most famous part of this movie, where they're like, name.
We're not quite there yet.
Oh, we're not quite there yet?
Are we? Yeah, we are there. Yeah, go
say,
ahead.
I was
Yeah.
going to say, that is
before
where we
they
are,
get
yeah.
Yep, you're right.
He's like, name, Mario. Last name, Mario. How many Marios are there between you? It's 3. It's Mario, and Luigi Mario.
Look, John Leguizamo may have been drunk the entire time, but drunk John Leguizamo.
May have.
Look, I'm not saying he wasn't drunk the whole time. I'm saying that he maybe sobered up occasionally during scenes.
Okay, all right.
You know,
Yeah, maybe.
but drunk John Leguizamo is giving the best performance you can possibly give in this movie.
You know what? If he was drunk when he recorded Ice Age, I probably would have liked that movie more.
So then we have them chained into this room, and these guns pointed at them, and they think they're about to get shot. Nope, surprise, the guns are just cameras. Because there are no actual guns in this movie.
Yeah,
They're always something else.
It's like flamethrowers
or de-evolution guns and things like that.
Which, another line I liked from Dennis Hopper, where they take the pictures and he's just like, are we dead?
The King Koopa then pretends to not be King Koopa, and he says that he is from a law firm with just a lot of reptilian names in it.
So we then end up with the weirdest Better Call Saul episode I've ever seen.
And he wants the rock from them, and they're like, nah, we don't know. We don't know where any rock is and things like that. And
Which, again, a scene that could have been a bit funnier. It was fine, but I think it could have been a bit funnier. Yeah, we need to talk to that prick King Koopa.
and King Koopa plays that off, and legitimately, this should have been a great scene. This scene's not, but
No, it
again,
should
if you're, a lot of it, I think, is again on Dennis Hopper, either the script, the directors, or him not caring at this point. I
Or a
don't know what it
combination
is.
of all three.
Four
Yeah,
there
or
of
a
them
combination
doesn't
of all
help this
three.
scene here. But then he goes into his bad guy monologuing as they de-evolve Toad, and we see how Goombas are made. And let me tell you, anyone that saw a Goomba when they played Mario never asked, how are these made? Where on the evolutionary line do these things exist? But this movie dares to answer that question. And we see as Toad becomes a Goomba.
I just want a T-shirt of those evolution
Yeah,
charts.
but it's the Mario.
But it's like a Mario character turning into a tall Goomba.
And yeah, weirdly, when they become a Goomba, they get really tall. The shortest characters in Mario become really tall.
Yeah, that's never
maybe
explained.
that was a joke.
And then
the production part, I don't know.
they knock
Possibly.
they break free. King Koopa gets knocked in the chair and becomes more dinosaur-esque. It's weird.
He gets knocked into the chair, but they get him out enough that he doesn't de-evolve, but you see his eye turn reptilian. Mm-hmm. So
As we're running away, we get our first shot of a Bob-omb, as it's in the fungus. There is something funny how much Mario hates fungus in this movie. Just always fungus, fungus.
Fungus.
Yeah.
Again, a thing that is never described in any of the games. They're always just mushrooms.
They're always called mushrooms, but no,
we gotta call them fungus.
We got fungus in this movie.
Because mushroom isn't as hardcore a name, apparently.
Yeah. We see that the Goombas famously, like all Mario games, shoot fire. I remember that from every Mario game, as they shoot fire from their fire guns at Mario and Luigi, who then drive away, don't have brakes, go through a pipe, and crash into a desert.
Which I believe was one of the scenes that almost killed Bob.
But they're saved by the fungus
Bob.
as they're going down. The fungus keeps them from really crashing as they go through the pipe. But before they go through the pipe,
bungeed with.
We do get their famous line, glug 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 glug, which joked in there was Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo in between sets
getting ready to take
their shots.
I was gonna say that wasn't in the script. It's just Bob Hoskins, John Leguizamo. They're like, all right, shooting day's on. All right, glug 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 glug.
But guess what?
Wasted.
We're ready for something also awkward, because this movie loves awkwardness. As the Koopas walk into King Koopa and his lady friend Lena, we didn't hear her name till later, in a mud bath. The Koopa Bros come in there and they're like, yeah, they got away, and he's like, well, go get them in the rock, you need to go get them in the rock. And then he delivers quite possibly the worst line of the movie. I like mud baths. I like mud baths. They're both dirty and clean at the same time.
Which the minute he said it, all three of us were like, well, we've got a new contender for like one of the worst lines, period.
Yeah,
like
it's up there.
That's up there with the fucking that is not true, it's bullshit. Or the fucking Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Too bad you will die.
Or the one that we brought up from X-Men.
Oh,
what happens to a toad when you get struck by lightning?
The same thing as everything else.
That doesn't make sense, Storm.
I always think just a weird tangent on that, but I'm always thinking that X-Men, that line is, I think those are from two different takes, and they didn't match up, but the takes didn't. So like they read it different ways, and so it was probably supposed to be something different.
Which, okay,
that's my best guess.
At that point, just edit out the fucking line.
I don't know, but that's my best guess, because otherwise it's just like, who thought of that line?
I guess it makes sense, but in the same way where it's like, what happens to a person when he gets shot? Same thing that happens to everything else.
It's like kids with the bad jokes, like, why did the monkey fall out of the tree? Because it was dead. That's the type of line it is. So King Koopa leaves his mud bath and puts his cousins, the Iggy and Spike, into the chair and evolves them so they become smart.
Which is where they start to get more tolerable.
Yeah, they actually, when they become smarter, they become quite a bit more tolerable, which we'll get that in a few seconds.
It is an interesting flip, having smart henchmen instead of dumb henchmen, especially when the smart henchmen were dumb henchmen to start with. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
So I give credit for this movie for being a little creative at that part, at least. But.
Yeah, props to you, movie. You did a thing.
We get a quick shot. It's a very quick shot of them walking across the desert, and Luigi is shirtless. It's there.
But it is the desert, so it makes sense Luigi is shirtless, but Mario is
still
wearing,
bundled up in a coat.
I'm surprised that didn't kill him. Jeez.
So we then get a shot of Daisy being brought into to King Koopa, where we are introduced to real-ass dinosaur Yoshi. And
it's the best way, because that's what he is.
Exactly. Sean's exactly right. He's just a real-ass dino.
And Koopa he says some really creepy things, sending her away, and then, talking about, I'll use her later. And it's like, I don't like this.
It's like, he no likey. He no likey.
Call the police.
They talk about the crystal and the rock and needing stuff, and, it's really weird. And so then we go have a scene of Daisy and Yoshi kind of bonding together, and that's cute. Yoshi... It's not the great look, but Yoshi is still cute.
Yoshi doesn't look like fucking Yoshi, but he's still... The animatronics are really good on it, and it is a cute enough design.
And that does kind of go into the flip side of this movie, where when we said earlier that, the best parts of this movie are when Mario and Luigi are together. When they're not on screen, this movie kind of drags.
It does. It really does kind of drag.
Because they're trying to set up this world that is really dumb.
I was going to say, it's not a world that makes sense. Again, I brought it up earlier. going back to Warcraft, like that movie's got like that movie's got a bunch of problems, and I will never deny that. But it sets up that world pretty solidly. This world just has so many inconsistencies, and it just doesn't make sense. And it's like, you don't care after a certain point, you know?
Yeah. At this point, then, the Koopa Bros try to capture the Mario Bros. It doesn't go well, and the Mario Bros capture them. But then they broker a deal. Smarter Koopa Bros and the Mario Bros broker a deal that the Koopa Bros will help them find Daisy if they will give them the rock.
Yeah.
They know that the rock's bad or destruction and they explain what's going to happen, that the worlds are going to collide, but the Mario Bros are okay with giving the rock. It's not really explained if they're thinking of double crossing or they're just...
Well, also, literally the next scene, the Koopa brothers are like, yeah, fuck Bowser.
Yeah.
So it's like, fuck Koopa. So it's like, I
Before
guess
that scene happens, though, we get them stop getting a trash truck and knocking out guys in gimp masks that I didn't realize until Mason said, hey, it's Shy Guys. And I go, oh, dear God, it's Shy Guys.
I didn't either. Mason's like, oh, hey, it's Shy Guys. And both me and John are like, oh, fuck.
Because they're silent and it's clear they are Shy Guys. And I was like, I
hate all life.
You're welcome.
Again, this movie is like, how can we make sure that Mario and Luigi are never in their right colors? Mario is in yellow and Luigi's in orange as they go into Big Bertha's nightclub.
Which, part of me's like, all right, now you're just fucking with me. Because they're literally, like, in each other's opposite colors on the color wheel. Mm-hmm. Like, orange is right next to red, and yellow is, like, right next to green. So I'm just like, so not only you fuck up their colors, but also you somehow fucked it up so bad they're just opposite. And I'm like, you're fucking with me.
Look,
I made the joke when the scene came up that maybe the costume designers were colorblind.
Just picking costumes. Look, if you're going to adapt Big Bertha to a weird post-apocalyptic universe, making her a part of a nightclub owner, yeah.
Yeah, making her a nightclub bouncer who just punches people randomly.
Yeah. Big Bertha punches now, asks questions later.
Which, I don't know if this scene was intentionally funny. I'm pretty sure it was supposed to be, but Mario comes up, tries to hit on Big Bertha, and she just sucks
him in the face. But that doesn't stop Mario. He comes back, and then we get suggestive Mario dancing.
That was one of the moments where I was like, is this supposed to be a kid's movie? And funnily enough, going back to like behind the scenes stuff on this movie, this whole scene, a lot of the dancers were strippers.
That checks out. While he's
Big Bertha, sorry,
you're fine.
Big Bertha straight up, like, it's not like suggestive dancing, like say in other kids' movies where, you know, they're just kind of dancing and it's like, oh, you can kind of read something in that. They're getting close and nuzzling, but like it's not that bad. In this one, she's straight up like grinding on Mario's crotch.
Yeah,
and it's like, oh, she wants that plumber. She wants him. She wants him to work with her pipes. Like,
it's kidding me. She wants the plunger.
So, in the suggestive dancing, Mario steals the rock, and we then get a whole weird scene where Lena's coming in with the with Goombas. There's a weird Mario and Luigi do a football play to throw the rock.
In which I don't think the writers or directors knew anything about football.
I mean, that might have been the joke. Because it was Luigi saying
Lena gets the rock out of this.
That's fair.
The Koopa brothers are now on their side as they have decided that King Koopa is a fascist.
Like, they literally call him a fascist
just
to his
flips
face in the
switch.
next scene.
I was like, wow.
I imagine
I
that
give
they got
credit
in the car.
that they just didn't censor it. Like, yeah, he's fascist.
I imagine they got in the car, and while they were all in the car, Mario and Luigi just happened to turn on the radio, and Toad's hit single was on there, and they're like, wait, King Koopa's a fascist.
Wait, King Koopa sucks? Oh, no. But, Mario and Luigi do the football play to try to get the rock away. Rhyme. But Lena, is that her name again?
Yes.
She catches it. Big Bertha then decides to save Mario and Luigi because she has been smitten for Mario. And give credit, Mario's not like disgusted or anything. He's just straight up like, hell yeah.
Yeah, and as they're escaping, Mario and Big Bertha get their kiss, and they escape. Then we get a shot of King Koopa sitting at standing at a throne room talking to a fungus. And we'll get to what this fungus is in a few minutes. But, God, this is in a movie with a lot of dumb plot points, I think this is the single dumbest plot point in the movie.
I think you're right.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
you're
you're
right.
right.
Like, this is so dumb.
I remember. I'll bring up my reaction when the twist is brought up, but it was
Yeah. Then King Koopa orders a pizza,
For
Yeah.
some reason.
which will have a really funny joke payoff later, but
yeah. But for you know why the scene was in there to have that funny.
Yeah.
joke.
You know, I don't even think the payoff needed the setup. I think you could have just had.
Yeah, just had him like random.
when we get to the payoff, I think that we could have just had the payoff and it would have been funny.
so
Maybe.
then they're going around a bunch of pipes, and Mario is like, we can sabotage all these pipes, and there's point solutions, which will later come around for when they do ice stuff in the pipes, is because they sabotage the heating and cooling.
Yeah, which again, credit where it's due. I like that Mario and Luigi's idea. I like that they're not like superheroes. They're fucking plumbers. They're plumbers from Brooklyn. They don't know shit about this post-apocalyptic stuff, but they can fuck up your pipes if they want to.
Exactly. And they break into a locker, and we finally get Mario and Luigi in costume.
Yeah.
Why is Luigi's hat backwards?
Because he's a cool young youth of New York.
It's just how the design is. So
They finally get them in the right colors, and then they can't even put the hat on right.
I kind of like the backwards Luigi hat in this. Like, I understand why Mason is
if it was
upset,
any
but I
other-
kind of like it.
if it was any other version of Luigi, I'd hate it, obviously. But
That's
for this
fair.
version, it works.
Yeah.
So
They get into an elevator, and a bunch of Goombas come in. That happens.
yeah.
But before all of that, the Koopa brothers basically tell King Koopa to go fuck himself.
Again, literally just call him a fascist to his face.
to his face, and King Koopa's like, all right, you guys dying.
Two kids going to die tonight.
Admittedly, another pretty fine, a line that could have been good if it was written better, but just one of them says fascist, one of them says tyrant, and Koopa's like ruler of this land. Like that would have been kind of funny if
Done better,
it was
yeah.
delivered better. If he was like, yeah, I rule this land, fuck off, and he just kills him or whatever.
We
Then-
get the PG-13 F-bomb in the Mario movie.
We see that Lena has the rock, and she is going down.
What? Yeah,
Yeah, that's it. That's
That's
really
it. She's going down,
all it
and
is.
King
She's
Koopa
going
learns
down.
that she has the rock, and he's like, "Oh my gosh!"
Yeah, and she goes to Daisy's room where she's being held prisoner. Says like, "Hey, this used to be my room. Now I'm gonna shank you."
Yeah, and we learn that your father still exists.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah,
Is this
she-
where that twist
She
is revealed?
Okay, so here we got it. First, before we get that, we have Mario and Luigi, to avoid the Koopas the Goombas from noticing them, are dancing in the elevator.
Yeah, okay.
That's
just
happening.
a scene where I was like, they did all the drugs. They did all of the drugs doing this scene.
And
Yeah, so Lena takes Daisy into the chamber with where her father is. Shocker of all shockers, her father is the fungus.
Were you about to say spoiler alert?
No, I was trying to say shocker, and it just wasn't coming out.
Okay.
Yeah, which genuinely my reaction was, Mason and Sean were both like kind of wide at the screen. Sean was like, "Oh, I forgot about this twist." There was like a couple seconds of silence, and I'm just like, "What?"
So, turning the king into something is not. And it says King Koopa turned him into a fungus, is what it says, and he was the first fungus that's infecting this land. Turning the king into something is not uncommon. Mario Bros. 3, famously, all the rulers of each world get turned into an animal by the Koopa kids, whichever one are them. One of them, famously, is Donkey Kong Jr. One of them gets turned into DK Jr. in that
Is
game.
that why he's not in any of the new games? He got turned back into a king?
Because he shows up in Mario Kart, and then he had a skin in 64, Mario Kart, one of those 64 games.
I did. Okay, I don't fucking know.
There's a rumor that Donkey Kong Jr. is Donkey Kong's father, the Donkey Kong we know's father.
No. I mean, I guess that makes
Because
sense.
Cranky is the OG Donkey.
Yeah, Cranky's the grandfather.
Yeah, because Cranky is the OG, but we don't know the in-between because grandfather. So there's this whole online rumor and thought process that DK Jr. was the Donkey Kong we know from Country and Beyond's father. Anyway,
We interrupt this Mario movie podcast to bring you Donkey Kong lore.
well, because we know it's not Donkey Kong from that because
God damn
Donkey
it.
Kong gets turned into a kid. We get Donkey Kong's kid form in one of the Mario and Luigi games, and it's not Donkey Kong Jr.
Yeah, it's Yoshi's New Island or whatever.
DK Donkey lore.
Look, weirdly, I have a pretty good sized passion for like Donkey Kong Country and the lore around it, so yeah, I can easily get distracted on that. All right, so
Monkey.
That was Donkey Kong's appearance in this movie, so saved it for that.
we now know that Fungus is father. Yoshi saves the day and gets stabbed.
Yeah, he gets fucking shanked in the throat, which I was genuinely like, oh shit, did they just kill Yoshi? Sorry, going back to the twist, why? And one of the reasons it didn't work for me personally, sorry, there's no build up to
None.
it. Like
We don't care about the king. The
they
early
say-
shot is like they're
like,
dead.
Yeah, they say like, oh, your father, the king, I took care of him, and I'm like, okay, so he's dead, but no, he's a fungus, and I'm like, it's just dumb.
It's just it's such a weird, like, I have to imagine it was at least in the original script, had something tied maybe to what they were doing in Mario Bros. 3, but now
Yeah.
it's distorted all of these things, and it's dumb.
So,
We get a point where Mario's like, I'm afraid of heights, and so,
and so again,
They fly,
another funny,
which is
part
a
of
really
the-
funny bit.
I was gonna say another part of the movie I actually thought was funny. Luigi jumps and he's like, "Oh my God, Mario, we can fly. There's like a wind updraft here or something." And Mario's like, "Okay, I'll trust you." And Luigi looks up. His overalls are just on a hook, and he's like, "Oh shit, no!" As Mario leaps to basically his death.
I like to think Luigi knew that he was on a hook and he was just screwing with Mario.
Yeah. We then have Daisy in the throne room, and she's over at one of the machines and picks up one of the guns, which is just the zapper from the NES. That's what the gun is, to like point at a screen and fire.
It's instead of a mouse, you have a gun in this
Yeah,
world.
which then she
What
communicates.
does a mouse look like? This is definitely a gun.
She communicates with Luigi, and Mario and Luigi arrive into the throne room.
Oh, sorry.
Oh.
No, sorry. Just again, another actually pretty solid line. Mario falls in the elevator shaft, but gets jumped back up by the fungus. Luigi grabs him, and they're celebrating. And Mario's like, "I'd high five you, but then you'd be an only child."
That was a really good line. We have Mario then says he's going to go off and save his girlfriend, Daniela,
Who, by the way, has also been kidnapped.
been kidnapped.
That was also revealed earlier in the movie, but
Yeah, it was one of
care.
them because there's all the women had been disappearing.
Yeah.
It's a plot point in the movie.
it's
We have overlooked it as much as the movie overlooked
There
it.
is
gonna say-
enough overlooked plot threads in this movie to weave a blanket.
King
Make a bingo
Koopa
card.
saw Daisy. I did actually forget her name for a second there.
Wow.
Saw Daisy
Wow.
with the gun communicating with the Mario Bros. So when Luigi and Daisy try to exit, they walk right into King Koopa's trap.
Yeah. While Mario saves Daniela and the other girls that have been kidnapped, leading to, honestly,
Before Mario saves, though,
shit.
Mario saves, Lena gets taken down.
Oh, that's right. She gets like fried or something. No, that's later.
No, she does.
Oh, she does get electrocuted.
Yeah.
Oh shit, she does get
Yeah,
electrocuted.
but she stands up. She's fine. She'll get electrocuted worse later, but yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
But then, Mario saving his girlfriend Daniela happens.
Which leads to, honestly, I thought it was a solid action scene. Like, not fantastic or whatever, but I thought it was fine.
Yeah, it was fun. There was rescue, and then we have ice pipe sledding. Which, look, if you're not going to do the Mushroom Kingdom or anything that looks like it, if you're going to get an ice level in, this was a really good way to make an ice level.
It looked like something out of an amusement park, like at Universal Studios.
Yep.
Considering the fact that Disney published this movie, that it just gets shot.
King Koopa.
Like at Universe.
King Koopa currently has the meteorite, and when they get down to all that, King Koopa has them. All. Because, that's basically what happens because they run into it and he captures them. Because it's kind of funny, that's where we get the pizza line.
Yeah, because like we said, he's ordering pizza and he's holding them up at gunpoint, and the soldier calls, "Sir, your pizzas are not now."
And like I said, I feel like that setup works on its own. That punchline, works on its own. You
Didn't need the weird scene of him ordering pizza, but whatever.
Maybe. Maybe
Mario finds a bullet bill, but instead of like using it that way, we put it in a shoe and fire a shoe at King Koopa.
That's not a cool scene by any means, or even a good scene, but I, believe it or not, actually do get what they're going for. And it's that Mario's crafty.
Yeah.
That's so like,
I know.
Mario is creative and crafty. That was what they were going for. He didn't have a weapon, so he used his shoe.
Yeah, which
so
is there. It's just that they use Mario iconography in a very weird way too many times. It's like, you didn't need to use a bullet bill here then.
You didn't need to use a bullet. Why is this thing called Thwomp? What is all this?
It's like, see? Look, we're definitely a Mario movie. We're definitely Mario. You can tell.
It's just,
as Mario goes off to attack King Koopa, who has been knocked into this like center flower pot thing.
Yeah, it's like this gravel dispenser.
Yeah.
My first thought was something completely irrelevant. Shocker. My first thought was actually that coal dumping thing from that one episode of Thomas the Tank Engine.
So that happens. Before Mario gets over there, Luigi tells him to trust the fungus.
Which Mario does by like using the fungus to block one of Koopa's shots. I think that happens later, but
yeah, we'll get. Don't worry, we'll get to some of that. Luigi and Daisy chase Lena. She is not dead. She has the meteorite, and they are chasing her as she is trying to put the meteorite in the big meteorite. Mario and King Koopa do a little bit of a fight, knocked down, and Mario and Koopa are kind of in a standoff, and Mario's pretending that he has the meteorite in his hand, and Koopa's not shooting him.
You did forget to bring about at one point before that part. Mario sets off a bob-omb.
We're getting there. We're not quite there yet.
Oh, I thought
because he had earlier. I did forget to say he grabbed a bob-omb, but he's holding it, and as people are passing by, someone goes, a bomb, and he's like, a bomb, and he's like, all right, and so he sets the bob-omb, which then it walks and falls down a grate.
Again, 3 lines Dennis Hopper actually delivers pretty solidly in this movie. 1, the plumbers at the beginning. 2, the not now with the pizza, and 3, this bomb. 4, because we'll get to another one.
Yeah. We find out that Lena gets electrocuted again, and this time very dead. And Daisy's like, I'm the only one that can touch the meteorite. They've also evacuated all the other women out back to the real world.
Look, I brought up earlier that the MCU deserves a lot for this movie. Took a lot from this movie. The DCEU did too, because it's the Man of Steel thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, get all the civilians out so that they don't get hurt.
No, I was more talking about the meteorite getting shoved into the thing. Like how Superman's key gets shoved into
a little bit
escape pod in the movie.
I've never seen Man of Steel, so
we see.
God damn it.
And as Mario and King Koopa are standing, they disintegrate and end up in the real world, which immediately gets us a shot of the Twin Towers.
Yeah, the Twin Towers being
destroyed.
Yeah, which was
like, woo!
That was a moment where all of us were like, whoa.
Part of me was like laughing awkwardly, like, ha, like fucking Tina from Bob's Burgers. Ha,
this did not age well, this part. Bowser has his Super Scope, which is his gun, and he turns Scapelli into Monkey.
Because they forgot Scapelli existed until now.
Monkey. Daisy
and that's the 4th line. Dennis Hopper delivers good.
Daisy and Luigi are able to successfully pull the meteorite out, and Mario and King Koopa are transported back to Dino Hatton. Yep, we had to go to the real world, literally to show the Twin Towers and Monkey Scapelli.
Yeah. And then they put the meteorite back in, they go back to the real world, and now the Pentagon's destroying. What?
We see the bob-omb slowly walking. King Koopa talks about how much he hates plumbers. Just God, he hates plumbers. And he's monologuing kind of a bit as Mario and Luigi are kind of it's at the end cornered.
Yeah.
He's got a flamethrower.
But Big Bertha shows up to save the day because Big Bertha's the best character in the movie. And
the best character.
And she tosses Luigi. No, she already gave Luigi the jump boots, I'm pretty sure, didn't she?
Yeah, they already had the jump boots, but she does show up briefly there.
Yeah, she gives her the jump
because she punches.
She punches out the one dude, and she gives Luigi the jump boots and 2 Devolver rays. So he jumps to Mario and gives him one.
Yep. Koopa talks, and then we see the Bob-omb arrive right below him, wearing his Reeboks, and go boom. The Bob-omb's wearing the Reeboks, not King Koopa.
I brought it because I brought it up when the bomb showed up. I got it confused for Adidas, but then I was like, no, wait a minute, I think it's
I
Reeboks.
thought you were joking. Like, genuinely, it was like, oh yeah, the Reeboks. And I'm like, okay.
How do you think they got money to film this movie?
I don't know. Nintendo's fucking stupid in the 90s.
Well, Nintendo's stupid
They
now.
went over budget. They needed a little bit of extra money, and they're like, hey, Reebok, you want to pay us something to put in this movie?
You want to pay us to put your name on a shoe of a bomb?
The Reebok was like, sure.
Hell yeah, brother. King Koopa is then stunned, and so they use the de-evolution rays to turn him to dinosaur and then to ooze.
Yeah, because King Koopa brought up earlier, like, we all evolved from primordial ooze or whatever.
Yeah, he becomes some sludge.
It's also the scene where, like, King Koopa gets the closest to, like, looking like Bowser in the whole movie.
Nothing like Bowser. He just turns into a dinosaur.
I was going to say, and he still looks nothing like Bowser.
Because this movie is obsessed with dinosaurs.
For some reason.
Then the Mario Bros. Awkwardly fly around. Luigi wanted to go on a date, and they're talking about taking Daniela to WrestleMania.
Yeah, that's a line they said earlier where Mario.
Yeah, no, it's right here. It's right here because they're about to leave.
Is it here? I thought
Daisy's gonna stay.
I thought it was earlier because Mario's like, oh shit, I need to save Daniela. I promised to take her to WrestleMania. Which, fun fact, this movie came out in, I believe, May of '93. WrestleMania 9 was earlier that year in April, so Mario would be taking her to WrestleMania 10, which was one of the first ladder matches, so good choice, Mario.
They wave goodbye, not just to Daisy, but also to Toad, who's
still a Goomba.
and Yoshi, who Luigi met, but Mario never really did.
So Mario should have a look on his face like, what the fuck is that?
We then
I don't think anything surprises Mario now.
Weeks later,
He's just trying
they're
to-
excited to be on TV, and then another TV broadcast says the thing that no TV broadcast would ever say. They saved us from the other dimension and came through. They're the Super Mario Bros.
Just imagine being in, like, Wisconsin or some shit, just watching that on TV, like, what the fuck?
So you're saying a dinosaur man appeared, destroyed the Twin Towers, and turned a man into a monkey and then disappeared.
Which you can't say, like...
Okay.
Which you can't say it didn't happen because they have video evidence. So just imagine being everyone else in America. Just like, what the
Look,
fuck?
they all believe... people believe the moon landing was fake. They all like, they're faking it.
People also believe that computers were going to destroy themselves in the year 2000.
And then we get our stinger that we joked was just somehow King Koopa returned because Daisy, with a flamethrower, knocks on the door and says, you're not going to believe. We believe. And that's the end of the movie.
Yeah, it's classic cliffhanger that doesn't go anywhere. Not really
There are
a cliffhanger.
There are a lot of those in the 90s.
Yeah,
there are
a lot
so
of them
many
in
of
the
those
90s.
because Godzilla and
Godzilla
has
98
one.
has one.
There are a lot of those of like it's kind of the horror stinger that I'm not actually dead type of thing.
Yeah, like the slasher raising his hand from the rubble or whatever.
But yeah, that's Super Mario Bros.
So the way that I would describe this movie, and this was something I thought about while we were watching it, and the entire movie makes me think of this scene in particular from a different movie mainly because it's really the only scene from this other movie that I've seen. The Super Mario Bros. Movie, the original, the one that we watched, reminds me a lot of the Deadpool fight scene in X-Men Origins Wolverine, where they take this character and they take their own creative royalties with it and do all these things with the character, and then they'll throw in like the eye color things onto his face to be like, oh no, we really want to be true to the character. We really like Deadpool. That's what this feels like to me. Is that they take all these creative liberties with the Mario franchise, and then they throw in like one thing, and like they give them their costumes finally, and they're like, "You see, we like Mario."
I
That's
agree
what
with
it
a lot of
feels
because a lot of the references. I think the costumes is more just they were like, this is a prequel. Like, I think that's more of what it is.
Yeah,
But I do
this
agree
is-
with a lot of the references.
This is trying to be kind of a prequel.
Before they put on the overalls, this is what they had, and it's like,
Yeah, before the plunger.
which is odd that their costumes in the game were always assumed were plumbing costumes, but they're not. When they put them on, it's a very odd thing.
Yeah.
It's definitely a wink at the camera, but yeah, we now have watched that movie. And on this podcast,
I think we've come out better, stronger men because of it.
fair enough. And on this podcast, we ask 2 important questions of every movie that we watch. The first is, how does this movie hold up?
Objectively, it didn't even hold up well for the time.
No.
Like, objectively, this is a poorly made, poorly written, pretty badly directed, just kind of sloppy mess of a movie.
Yeah.
Subjectively, I fucking love this movie. So
Yeah. So my
with friends, I will say that.
my thing with this movie, as far as holds up, is like, look, the computer graphics of the time, revolutionary, did a whole lot of things. Because they're kind of that infancy in the first step, they hold up really bad. The directing and everything else makes this movie really hard to hold up. But the thing that we noticed that held up, and what has made this movie very enjoyable and a fun time for us, the comedy held up really, really well.
Especially the chemistry between
Both intentional and
Yeah.
unintentional.
between Bob Hoskins and John. I wish Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo could have done a good movie together.
Yeah, like they should have been like a more powerhouse duo, like
Absolutely.
than they were.
I could have seen them doing like a remake of what's that one movie where Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger are brothers?
Twins.
Twins. I could see them doing like a twins type movie, or like Step Bros.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they could have been like the Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor. where
Yeah.
they just star in a bunch of random comedies together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this movie wasn't good. And that's partly why they didn't do much else together again.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Bob Hoskins didn't act very much after it as well.
No,
Like he would do still more roles later on, but like he did not act a ton after this. And Leguizamo steered clear from kids stuff for a while until Ice Age.
Yeah.
And that was voice acting, so it was less of his face.
Yeah.
And Dennis Hopper was like, I don't like movies.
fuck this noise. Fuck this movie shit. I like I said, I love the shit out of this movie. I think I've brought that up plenty of times.
Yeah.
With friends.
Yeah.
That
and
is
that's
the
the
most important
caveat.
part. Like, again, we brought it up earlier. Street Fighter the movie, I could watch alone and still have a ball. I love that fucking movie. Here, you need friends to enjoy it.
Absolutely.
Because I can 100% guarantee if I was watching this movie alone, not 100%, I have pretty shit movie taste, but I can pretty much say that if I was watching this movie alone, I would not have liked it as much, and I might have actually kind of hated it.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I was at, because I watched it over a decade ago and piled on it and hated it, and but I watched it by myself, and I definitely think this is not an underrated movie. This is not a misunderstood movie. It's a bad movie, but also it's overhated.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It is overhated. It's not a good movie, but it doesn't deserve the vitriolic hatred it gets.
Is it a bad interpretation of a video game movie? Yes. I don't think there's any arguing with that. But I think there's also no arguing with that. There have been and probably will continue to be far worse.
Yeah.
This movie does not deserve the same amount of vitriol that other video game movies rightfully get. Like a good chunk of the Resident Evil movies.
House of
Max
the
Payne.
Dead.
House of the Dead, Max Payne,
The-
anything Uwe Boll did. Like-
basically anything Uwe Boll has
Hey,
touched.
Annihilation.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Hey, remember when he did a Far Cry movie?
No, I don't.
I don't want
He
to.
did a Far Cry movie.
Jeez.
How do you think it is?
Yeah, so in the grand pantheon of video game movies, it's not good, but it's also not this, like, abysmal thing. And I think people should give this movie a chance when watching it, because that aspect of kind of the fun does hold up.
Yeah. This is, I think, again, this is a great movie to watch with friends.
Mm-hmm.
This is a very good, like, drinking movie.
Yes.
Like, get around with friends, grab a couple beers,
And laugh your ass off.
laugh your ass off. And whenever you're And whenever the slower parts come up, just start drinking more. I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah. Our second question we ask, what can modern movies take from this film?
So,
This is a hard one because it obviously did things for modern films. Computer graphics, visual effects, things like that it took from it. There's also like cynical answers we can have, like things like don't hire bad directors, don't let husband and wife bad directors who treat your actors bad direct movies.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure they're divorced now, too.
yeah, they are. They divorced in 2005, I believe.
But I think for me, the thing that I think a modern movie can take from this is both a negative and a positive for this movie, because this movie didn't do it well, but I think it is. That again, a perfect interpretation is not always needed to make a good movie. You have to keep the feel of everything still in tow, but a perfect interpretation is not needed. Again, the Mario Bros. Aren't a great interpretation of the game, but they work really well, and I enjoyed them and would have enjoyed it a lot more in a movie if they got everything else at least the feel right. If Bowser felt like Bowser, whether if they stayed with Daisy or they went with Peach, it felt like the princesses of the games. If the Goombas, the Koopas, even if they looked ugly, felt like what we know. But none of them feel like it. If the Mushroom Kingdom felt like it. So I like the idea of trying to take a different take on something, as long as you keep the feel of it correct. And that's where this movie succeeds in trying to do something. It fails in actually executing it. And so that's what I would say in a modern movie's takes. It's okay to adapt something. It's okay to interpret something, but you have to make sure the feel is there.
I can accept that.
Sorry, I just weirdly realized this. Was this the movie that inspired Daisy's tomboy personality?
Possibly.
Because
Very possibly.
she didn't really have a personality before this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know, just kind of a thing I brought up. Something I can say... I actually will say I think modern movies should take something a bit from this, and that is practical effects.
The practical effects are pretty damn.
It's not even that they're necessarily good in this times there. It's also that you can see where there is use for them and where there's a use for CGI. You can mix and match them a lot better, and that's something that absolutely.
Yeah, just don't be afraid to use practical effects.
Mm-hmm.
I should talk them a lot, but like a lot of just modern movies, exclusively rely on CGI. Not trying to name names, but y'all know what ones I'm thinking of.
Right. Do they start with M and end in CU?
Yeah. The Marvin the Martian cinematic universe. Way too much CGI.
Yeah, the MMCU. What about you, Mason? You got anything to take from it for a modern movie?
I mean, this is another one of those things that I brought up before, where it's like take as caution, but it's not really cynically. This is like genuine for me, I think. And that is on-set safety. Bob Hoskins could have very well died on this set, and I don't think anyone would have been able to forgive the people that let that happen. If that happened.
Absolutely not.
And there was just no precaution taken for the safety of anyone on this set, I believe. And I think that is
because
definitely something that
that
should
taking
be
care of your
taken,
stunt people, taking care of your actors.
Bob Hoskins almost died several times. John Leguizamo, I think, got overheated and almost had heat stroke.
Yeah.
All the Goombas and Koopas, they were all fucked the hell up because they were in those hot ass suits because the building they were shooting in didn't have air conditioning.
Like the bottom line is you don't really have a movie without your actors. Treat them with respect.
Yeah.
And that is something that this movie just did not do.
Yeah, treat
absolutely.
your actors, treat your crew, treat everything with respect.
Exactly. And you know what? Maybe the movie would have ended up being better if they were treated better.
Look, we mentioned Street Fighter several times, and it's a bad movie, but it's a really fun bad movie, and everyone on set apparently had a good time.
Yeah, everyone.
And maybe there is some of that comedy that would have come through more in other areas if the actors actually cared, especially especially King Koopa stuff.
Yeah.
Oh,
A
Because,
lot,
like,
a lot of that
Credit-
intentional and unintentional comedy might have shown through it. It didn't around him.
Yeah, because like credit where it's. Hey, take a shot. Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo, I think, are trying their hearts out. Like they might.
They may not have been
they
sober
might- I
while
was gonna say
trying,
they
but-
might be sloshed to hell while they're doing it, but they are trying their hearts out. So, and you know what? That is also something I can get from this movie. Even if the casting's not like what you'd imagine, that might not matter as long as you get someone. I mean, this is something you could take from almost any movie, but something that a lot of people on the internet seem to not be able to realize. Just because someone looks like a character or sounds like a character does not mean
They're
that
right
they
for the
are
role.
right for the role.
Mm-hmm.
You can have people who look different, but just, as long as they capture the feel of the character, that's fine.
Absolutely.
And like that's what I think Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo do in this movie. So there you go.
Yeah. So that's Super Mario Bros. 1993. What do you guys think? Have you guys seen the new Mario Bros. Movie? And want to tell us about that? Have you seen this movie? Do you consider it a cult classic? Well, you can tell us by sending us an email at bleepyouplaying@gmail.com. That's bleepyouplaying@gmail.com. Or if you just want to comment below on this Patreon, or, subscribe to it and let us know what you want us to play or watch. We have a subscription on it for Super Bleep Heads where you can absolutely tell us what to watch or play, and we will do it. And we'll be back next time. I don't think we really have the schedule ironed out yet. So we'll be back next time, though, with
We'll be
more.
back next time with a film.
We will be watching
movie.
something and telling you why the bleep we watched it.